You're watching the People's Television, ABC Amber TV, the voice of Ambazonia. Stay tuned. You're watching the People's Television, ABC Amber TV, the voice of Ambazonia. Stay tuned. You're watching the People's Television, ABC Amber TV, the voice of Ambazonia. Stay tuned.
Important thing for every Ambazonian. The number one most important thing for every Ambazonian to do right now is the draft. We stand at the threshold of an existential struggle, a pivotal juncture in our proud history that brooks no failure, tolerates no hesitation. So we will draft incessantly, individually, within the warm, vibrant tapestries of our communities. We will draft. We must draft. Draft, for in this paramount task, our draft lies the power to liberate Ambazonia.
Sovereign silhouette, the emblem of Ambazonia. From the azure embrace of the Atlantic reflecting from the Ambas Bay, the iconic Fako Mountain ascends with a silent, stoic grace, carving a silhouette against the sky. This towering sentinel is more than a geographical marvel. It is the heart of southern Cameroons, the stoic guardian of Ambazonia, a symbol steadfast as the unyielding spirit manifests in the unity of the land's 13th counties. Encircling these earthen spire, a dove of peace edges its arc, untouched and serene. As it soars with wings unfurled, it casts shadows upon the land, each feather a brushstroke of tranquility. Against the canvas of the heavens, 13 stars glimmer, the celestial acknowledgement of each county's shared dreams and harmonious virtues. The dove, in its eternal flight, is not merely a bird, but an embodiment of the collective longing for a peaceful existence under a shared identity. Beneath the mountain top, firmly grounded in the richness of the earth, twin elephant tusks rise as natural monuments. Their acts, regal and commanding, capture the noble essence of the land spirit animals. This emblem, this seal of Ambazonia, is no mere insignia. It is the beacon that illuminates the path to shared prosperity. It is an oasis of unity in a world parched by discord, a visual whisper of a nation's promise, echoing across generations. Every curve, every symbol within the emblem tells the story of Southern Cameroons, an epic scripted by the enduring strength and unity of its communities. Each page imbued with the hopes and enduring spirit of its people. Sovereign silhouette, the emblem of Ambazonia.
Good evening, dear viewers, and welcome to a special edition of Ambazonian this week. As you can notice, I am not Tara Paddy King. My name is Onyi Obala, and it is an honor to steer our ship through today's stormy water of discussion. We'll meet our news director.
The number one most important thing for every Ambazonian to do right now is the draft. We stand at the threshold of an existential struggle, a pivotal juncture in our proud history that brooks no failure, tolerates no hesitation. So we will draft incessantly, individually, within the warm, vibrant tapestries of our communities. We will draft. We must draft. Draft, for in this paramount task, our draft, lies the power to liberate Ambazonia. The number one most important thing for every Ambazonian to do right now is the draft. We stand at the threshold of an existential struggle, a pivotal juncture in our proud history that brooks no failure, tolerates no hesitation. So we will draft incessantly, individually, within the warm, vibrant tapestries of our communities. We will draft. We must draft. Draft, for in this paramount task, our draft, lies the power to liberate Ambazonia.
Good evening, dear viewers, and welcome to a special edition of Ambazonian This Week. As you can notice, I'm not Tapari King. My name is Onyi Opale, and it is an honor to steer our ship through today's stormy waters of discussion with Miss our news director, Mr. Char, tonight. But in the vein of the relentless spirit of this program, we will forge ahead. Tonight, we open a door to conversations that resonate beyond our screens, reaching the heart of Ambazonians' existence. At the forefront of our dialogue, we find the Ambazonian government's diplomatic outreach and initiative casting wide nets for solidarity, most notably towards Brazil and the United States. In these challenging times, marked by a relentless war, our president, Samuel Kamesako, envisions the U.S. not just as an ally, but as a stronghold, a beacon of hope amidst the onslaught against our people by the Franco-Cameroon's hegemony. Yet, the matrix of global politics is never black and white. The BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa stand at one end, with the US seemingly at odds, especially with members like Russia. The question then arises, a question we must all ponder: what part should Ambazonians tread? Is there a golden middle, or must we choose? And how critical are these alliances in shaping the future of Southern Cameroon's Amazonia? Equally imperative is the plight of Abdul Karim, a beacon of Ambazonians activism, now languishing in the shadows of a Yaoundé dungeon. Over 2 years have passed, with not a single day in court. This isn't just Abdul's fight. It is a reflection of the battle waging for every Ambazonian soul crying out for justice, for the right to live freely, to breathe without the weight of oppression. So, friends, as we navigate these discussions tonight, let's do so with open hearts and mind. Let's envision not just the Ambazonian of today, but the Ambazonia of tomorrow, a nation defined not by the might of its battle, but by the strength of its peace. Not just peace, its compassion and its unwavering hope. Stay tuned, for together we will explore these our venues, seeking answers, understanding, and above all, silencing our collective journey towards freedom. To enhance this conversation, we have in the studio our esteemed political analyst and statesman, Barrister Fujan So and Barrister Team Bezier, and we will begin right after this break.
Payment method: www.abcambertv.com/donate. ABC Amber TV payment channels: Cash App 202-650-2216, Zelle 202-650-2216, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. PayPal donations at abcambertv.com. For more details, call +124 028 43 111. You can email us at info@abcambertv.com. Payment method: www.abcambertv.com/donate.
All right, it's so amazing to have our authorities in the field of political analysis, and I'm sure that they are here to tell us all that is needed to hear. Barrister Team Base here, it's good to have you. You've been with us all through the week. How are you today?
Uh, Thank you for having me throughout the week. This is the end of the week, and thank you once more for having me.
You're welcome. Very Surfer, I'm sure this is the first time I'm having you here. I've never had you on Undaunted. So how does it feel together tonight?
Oh, thank you very much. I have not been with you during the week because I work. I'm still able to work. And secondly, I have been on this program every week. But this is the first time I'm having Madam, anchoring. And you're right, it's the first time you are anchoring when I am on the screen. Thank you very much for inviting me.
All right, you're welcome. You're welcome. All right, so let's get straight into one of our major discuss for the week. Talking about the great diplomatic relationship President Samuel Ikonesako had with Brazil. I mean, this goes a long way to show that we are having a step in the nice and in the right direction. I'm sure you both will definitely agree with me, but I will not allow you to talk until we are done seeing this particular clip.
To be doing. So tonight we want to find out what Amazonians are expecting or what the significance of such movement really is. This is about the second time or third this year that the president is having a conversation with media personalities within the Brazilian community. Mind you, Brazil is the largest country in South America rather, and the fifth largest in the world and holds significant influence as one of the emerging powers in the world. Not forgetting it is a member of the BRICS group, the Brazil, Russian, India, China, South Africa group, which represents major economies. Brazil has also been actively involved in international organizations like the United Nations and has played a role in addressing global issues such as climate change and sustainable development. So it makes President Sako's interview with its media a very big deal, and it is laudable. What do you think about this, Onyi?
Well, I think that it's a great step and it's very laudable. This is a great one for Ambazonians to be heard outside the shores of Africa, and for the world to get to know the diplomatic steps that President Samuel Ikonesako is taking. And to do justice to these very topic, we have Barrister Mbexia, who is a veteran in these regards, as he has worked with so many African and international countries as we speak. But before that, we have reports coming in from the home front. I mean, we have Capo Daniel revealing Ayaba Cho's other senator, Kemendes, killing. We also have denizens of Bangem local government area coerced to do, what they don't want to do. To vote for President Biya. You can imagine that, regardless of all of the sufferings that they've been through. On the African scene, we have Malawi facing urgent humanitarian crisis. I mean, the president declared state of disaster over droughts. And also, we would like to believe that Trump is just 3 weeks from becoming the first ex-president to go on trial. I mean, we have all of this report. But before that, we want to get the thought of Barrister T. Mbexia as regards to the move, the diplomatic moves of the president of Ambazonia. So far, so good. Barrister Mbexia, what do you say?
I think, and I believe I'm right, that diplomacy is the multi-pronged of anything, and the preparedness to Brazil is not incidental. It is very, very important, and we have to capitalize on that, because Brazil, as you have said in the introduction, is a very powerful country in South America. That's not all. They have created the next most powerful group in the world, the BRICS. That encompasses Brazil, it includes India, it includes Russia, and many other countries are fighting to join the BRICS. So the BRICS looks like a very powerful government going into the United Nations. Can this be very useful to us? Of course. Brazil, as a country, has its own allies. As a member of the BRICS, they have alliances, economic, political, human rights, and otherwise, everything that you can imagine in the world. Because we must remember, they are all members of the United Nations. Our journey, our journey recognition, ends at the United Nations. It is peculiar. The success of a country does not depend, the independence of a country does not depend generally on the United Nations. The United Nations does not give country independence. No, that's not their role. But they will refer to the United Nations because, as far as we are concerned, the United Nations, in fact, Ambazonia is a product of the United Nations, and the United Nations grandfather of nations. And so everything we hear all the time is documented somewhere in the archives of the United Nations. And so that's why the United Nations is important, not just because they do anything now. For example, the United Nations granted independence to the Republic of Cameroon in 1959, by 1959 resolution, not France. Because they were France was administering under the guide of the United Nations. The same with us. The United Nations, for example, did not grant independence to Nigeria. It didn't grant independence to Chad. It didn't grant independence to all these other countries that you know. Only countries that in the sphere of the United Nations look up to the United Nations for independence, which we are part of it. And so if we can reach any member of the United Nations who can say to the United Nations, you wronged these people as an organization. You have created this problem for them. Go back to it. And there are two ways the United Nations can go back to the problem. Anybody who can address them, they can go back to it through the General Assembly, because we are administered under the United Nations with the Committee for Administration of the Trust Territories. That's the way to go out. That's when that was passed in Resolution 1608 and other resolutions that were mentioned here. We can go, and our members, they can take this matter to the Security Council of the United Nations as a security problem. Because people are dying. And so it is a very laudable effort. We shall not leave any stone unturned. And before I end this segment, I would want to congratulate and thank all those people in Brazil who are helping us to put these efforts together. The president is right here in Maryland with us in the US. If he's having these connections to somebody in Brazil or out of America, some Ambazonian, a dedicated Ambazonian, is there doing the groundwork, laying the foundation. And I think this is laudable. The Brazilian press, because I was talking to the Brazilian press, it's important. People read those things. Now, Brazil is trying to flex its own muscles as a power around the world. Even the United Nations thing, they are nowhere, but they are the largest country in Asia, in South America. They are the largest, and everything that you can look for there. But they are just enough. So they are trying to flex their muscles. And they are doing it with the cooperation of India, that's the largest democracy in the world, with billions of people there, with Russia, a powerful member of the United Nations with a veto, and with other countries that can be able to have influence over our matter. So we say thank you, our comrades who made this possible. Thank you, Mr. President, for addressing the issues before it's called the Brazilian press. Thank you very much.
All right, Barrister Tim. Thank you once again for joining us here. Looking at this diplomatic effort of the president in the first quarter of the year already having these meetings with the Brazilian media, what do Ambazonians hope to get from this in the long run? Like how does it impact the Amazonian struggle?
Well, I think I have just said that the contacts with Brazil, just like the contacts with any other country around the world which is independent, could and should have a lot of influence over our struggle, because we are part of the global world. But that apart, we are part of the world whose suffering, whose problem is laid on the feet of the United Nations. That's what we're just explaining. And if any country in the world, including Brazil, including the BRICS bloc, can take cognizance of what we are going through, this could and should be very, very useful in selling our cause to the United Nations. That's why I said that all our struggles end at the United Nations, because they created this problem. There would have been no Ambazonian without the United Nations. There were no Ambazonian without the League of Nations that was created in 1922. After the First World War, they created the League of Nations. And the territory ceased from the defeated Germany, that included Cameroon, was divided. We have said this many times before. I said, okay, we're going to administer these people going forward. You no longer need this colony because you are now defeated. That's how Ambazonia was born. That's how British Southern Cameroon was born. They call it British Southern Cameroon because the League of Nations entrusted that territory, what we call today part of British Cameroon, which is now Ambazonia, to be mandated to the League of Nations. The League of Nations gave it over to the UK. In 1945, when the United Nations was formed, from 1946, the very United Nations decided to transfer this very territory called Ambazonia to confirm the existence of Ambazonia to be administered by the UK. That's why we call it, we became a trust territory, to be administered by the UK. And as per the articles of the United Nations Charter 76B, to take us to independence. And they didn't do it, they didn't finish their job. Today, Brazil, Russia, India, all these countries are members of the United Nations. If they can listen to our case, which is all documented right there, this will be very, very important for us. Anybody can take it up. But when you take it up there, you need allies. If it is taken up by Nigeria, you need allies. Because the United Nations speaks through resolutions. Resolutions are passed by member countries. And so the more we say this thing to our people, to our friends, to our sympathizers, the better for us. So we can only encourage the president to multiply these efforts beyond Brazil. If we can reach other countries, that would be a wonderful, commendable effort. But the effort already to Brazil is...
Oh, wow. Now, if you are just joining us or if you didn't have the opportunity to watch this from the week, well, I wanted us to watch that particular video so that it will lay a foundation for us to focus on, knowing that we started from that particular point. Now, with that in mind, what do you think about the BRICS? Now, I'll start with Barrister Fu. Now, of course, the BRICS, they've been on for a very long time now, pointing on de-dollarization. Well, not just that, and a whole lot of struggles that they are onto. Not just that, US divide, especially with Russia involved. Now, how should the government of Ambazonia at this point, where the BRICS are, where Russia is, and where Brazil is, navigate their diplomacy? Now, remember, they have to take into consideration the stakes involved. Barrister, let's hear your thoughts.
Thank you very much. Before I say anything, I'd like to greet Ambazonian people and wish them happy Easter, and to say that our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ died yesterday on Good Friday, and he will resurrect on Sunday. And I bring peace, I bring to all our people the glory of our Lord. Having said that, let me answer by saying that I have read about BRICS, and BRICS' major objective is the de-dollarization. I don't know what that means. It means that they will break away from the present trading currency, that is the dollar, and have a dollar and have their own currency of trading. It is still a new organization. It has not made any impact that we know of, but it will. And our friendship is not dependent upon who belongs where. Our friendship with all the countries in the world will not take into consideration where each country belongs or does not belong. I would say that Brazil has remained a friend of the African continent. Brazil is a very important country in the world. Brazil did not vote Resolution 1608 for a good reason, because it did not see why a Class B territory just like La République du Cameroon will be given conditional independence, either joining La République du Cameroon or joining Nigeria. So for that reason, it did not vote that resolution. That doesn't mean that Brazil does not share our problems. I was very, very, very excited when the president spoke on one of the major television networks in Brazil. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank our brother, Pastor Commando, who is in Brazil, who has been making things for us, who has been campaigning for us and bringing our story to the people of Brazil. It was an opportunity for our president to tell our story and to give a perspective of what we come. In fact, what interested me was when he presented the economic prowess of the Southern Cameroon's Ambazonian. We are one of the richest countries in the world. We will become a very powerful, economically powerful nation in the world if when we achieve our sovereignty, because we already have independence. So Brazil is a part of BRICS, just like South Africa, Russia, India. India is one of the biggest economies, is probably the biggest nation on earth, along with China. But in terms of democracy, it's one of the biggest democracies in the world. And so, just like Brazil is also economically strong, and all we are looking for is our friends to recognize us and let us have our sovereignty, and so that we can become a part of the global family. So to answer your question, I don't know very much about BRICS, because BRICS so far they are still putting they are still putting it together to compete with the rest of the world economically. And if their objective is only to destroy the dollar, that's where the problem is. But if the objective is to complement the dollar so that the world economic network benefits everybody, it is very welcome. And for now, Ambazonia cannot take sides between the BRICS and the other countries. We will only take sides with countries that are our friends. And Brazil is one of our biggest friends in the world.
Right now.
Thank you.
All right. So how do you think that the government of Ambazonia should, navigate this diplomacy taking into consideration all that is at stake? What are the right steps? Let it be like, when you move one step ahead, let it be 1,000 steps forward, not 1,000 steps backwards. So what can they do to, navigate this diplomacy to achieve more records? Probably let's allow
like
Barrister BC say something now, then would come back to you,
okay,
Barrister Fru. Yes, please.
okay.
Barrister.
You want me to talk?
I
Yes.
thought
Please talk so that or do you want Barrister Fru to continue? We want you to say something, then Barrister Fru would continue from there.
Well, I thought I've spent so much time on this thing because of the issue. In
all right.
international politics, no alliance is negligible. What the BRICS do economically and politically affects the rest of the world. Even if their goal targeting the economic prowess of the dollar, that is still an important thing for us. But if that is the goal, there's a reason why the dollar is the dominant economic factor of the world. Besides the dollar, we have the euro. The euro is not tapped to the dollar. And so if they break down these barriers, all the trade that we do in Africa with France passes through the euro. Then money gets converted to the euro if you are trading with France. And then, of course, because the Cameroon franc or Nigerian franc or Naira is not convertible. But again, back to Ambazonia, we are dealing with Brazil, a member of another international organization. I had the opportunity to say that in international politics, alliances are formed to promote a common cause. And so if we were to get the leeway through Brazil or any member of BRICS, we have no regrets, we have no apologies to make to anybody else. Because as of now, rather to speak, even Yaoundé, they have in the Yaoundé the American embassy, they have the Chinese embassy, they have the Russian embassy, they have the French and the British embassies. So in diplomacy, you don't choose your friends, you choose where you're interested. And I can only add that last week or the last 2 days, I talked about how the BRICS in general and Brazil in particular, how we could use them to penetrate the United Nations because they are full-fledged members of the United Nations General Organization, General Assembly. And so that can be done, and we wish that can be done. But besides that, there are things that Brazil can do directly, diplomatically, without even passing through the United Nations. They can give us direct recognition as a country. They don't need permission from another country to do that. They just do it. And possibly some of their allies will follow. But if they take that first step, without asking permission from anybody, from France, from Russia, from China, or anybody else, that would be a marvelous step they have taken. There's another thing they can do without asking the permission from the BRICS, or from China, or from Russia, or from France, or from even the US. They can table this matter before the United Nations Court at The Hague, the International Court of Justice. You just go there as a plaintiff. The statutes allow, the charter allows any member of the United Nations to do that. I don't think they even pay any money to file a case. They don't pay. And if they took that step, I'm sure we as Ambazonians who are capable, who have staff, who are people who are capable of defending ourselves before that very court. That will not cost Brazil or any member country any dime. They are not going to pay. If they must pay a filing fees, I'm sure Ambazonian can do that. And so those are steps that can be taken by Brazil since we're talking to them without asking for permission, without minding whether their BRICS is dealing with the dollar, with the euro, or any other future currency. This is diplomacy, and that can be done that is doable, and we urge them to take note of all these avenues open to them. I'm glad to hear they didn't vote for 1508. At least they didn't vote, but it means that they were there. They were there. I'm sure they declared abstention. So they knew they know what happened in 1961 with 1608. They know what happened in 1959 with 1352, I'm sorry about that. And so that is the opening we need. Or what we need to do, what the president and the diplomatic team need to do, is to emphasize these opportunities that openings create for us, and plead on Brazil and their own allies and the other members of the BRICS, if possible, to chime in and do this thing. If for anything else, is to resolve a crisis that poses a threat to international peace. The United Nations Security Council is very concerned. In fact, for which the United Nations to maintain international peace. And so these are all the ramifications that it takes. We think we can get something out of it. We think Brazil can do it. We think no other person can do it. But right now, we're dealing with Brazil because they are doing to us. Thank you.
Yeah, I like the emphasis I like the emphasis you've made and how you've pointed out a few things that Ambazonians can do now. Barrister Phil, yes, I know that you have a lot of things to say. So let's also talk about what Ambazonians can do at this point to make use of every opportunity that comes out of these diplomatic relationship with Brazil.
I said before, our association with countries around the world will not depend upon which organization each country belongs. And Brazil has proven to be a friend of Africa and is our friend. And we think that when we are suffering, we need to take our case to friends. And that case is being taken now by our president, of course, with the help of Pastor Commando, and it's being taken now to Brazil. And what do we expect from Brazil? We expect recognition first. Let them recognize our independence, which was obtained on the 21st, it was voted upon on the 21st of April 1961 and obtained on the 1st October 1961. And Brazil is one of the countries that is well informed about the plight of the Ambazonian.
Let me just cut you in there. You would continue, but I know you did say that Brazil didn't vote for Resolution 1608 as at when they did, right? You did say that at the beginning of the program. So do you think that with what they are offering on the ground, or with the, should we say, with the relationship or with the recognition that we hope that would be fully established, do you think that we can actually trust that they would deliver totally this time around?
Yes, let me explain why they didn't vote. I read it. They didn't vote because they wanted the United Nations to give our independence directly without strings attached. They did not think that it was proper to condition us on joining either Nigeria or La République du Cameroon. That is why they did not vote. And it was a good thing for us that they did not vote on those bases. Because our problems now are caused by this problem of joining. Otherwise, we will not be where we are today. Brazil, as I know it, it's a very open democratic country. It's the largest country in South America, and it's a friend to all of Africa, and therefore they will understand, given the history that I just presented, they will understand our problem and they will come to our aid if they judge it credible, and I think they would. That is why it was important for us to present our case to them and let them be the judge. But I believe that they did not vote against that resolution for any negative ulterior motive, but they did not vote because they wanted us to have our independence without strings attached, without any precondition, without conditions. So seeing them, Brazil has remained a friend, and therefore it is important that they know what we are going through. I don't know whether they all know, but Pastor Commando has been working on the ground, and the president this week presented our situation succinctly to the Brazilian public and of course to the government. Talking to the public, the government is also listening. And he presented the Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia as it is now and as it was then. And therefore, we are hopeful that Brazil will not have any difficulty coming to our aid. First, by recognizing us, and secondly, by bringing our case to the United Nations. Filing a case on our behalf may be the third option that they can envisage. But the first and second is taking our case to the United Nations and recognizing us. And that is what we should be working at. And we will be working like this through other nations. For example, I am hoping that we'll be able to get to the 3 Sahel countries of Africa as they are now, and let them also be, because they are all members of the United Nations, let them also give a helping hand to liberate us from the sufferings that we are in now. Therefore, I think Brazil will not have any problem with what is happening in the Southern Cameroon, because they know already, they know the history. And that is why they protested and did not vote for that resolution, because they didn't see any reason why our own independence should be conditioned on something else, conditioned on joining this or joining that. They didn't see that reason. And that is the only reason why they did not vote. That doesn't mean that they have not been friendly to us. They have been. They are a good friend of Africa. Or most countries in Africa like Brazil, just like Brazil likes Africa. So I believe that a positive result will be achieved by this diplomatic outreach, which is so important to Ambazonian people. It is as important as the diplomatic outreach to the United States. So we have these 2 big countries that we need to really be very active to ensure that they know what is happening to us and they can come to our rescue. Thank you.
President, in his attempt, already started making promises. So we addressed that situation earlier in the week, and so we want to also see how far we went with that discussion and would also extend it a little bit more. So let's see all of the promises that President Samuel Ikomesak made.
Well, moving forward, we heard the president during the course of his interview with the Brazilian media talk about giving sort of like an incentive to the Brazilian community that Amazonia will be a visa-free nation for them once Ambazonia's sovereignty is fully restored. But then we're wondering, is that a strategic incentive to enhance partnership at this time of war?
It is possible. Right now, I don't know what our foreign policy would be. But once we get independence, are we going to forget our friends? Are we going to forget those who joined us in the battle to freedom? Of course not. If we have a hen, a cock to kill, to eat with our visitors, the ones who were with us in times of need, that will be done. How we do it, I don't know. Maybe visa-free. Maybe anything. But even to make it visa-free, that's not the most important thing. To make it visa-free, you must have something that people will come there to visit freely. There must be something to attract people to come. Who of us sitting here will go to Cameroon or Republic for visa free, where you can even drive from Douala out of Douala port, airport. For what? When thieves will kill you. So if we set an ideal, if we set up an ideal state, free of, with security guarantees, exploit our touristic environment, put things there that would encourage people to come. People will fight to come. Those people who would giving visa free will double the effort. Yes, well, let them in visa free. But visa free don't mean that everything there is free. When you come there, you go and drink book. You pay for it. The seller says it's in book. You go and drink beer. You go and eat a chew. If you eat a chew or anything there, you are buying it. That multiplies the economy of the chew seller. And so we entice them to come. And I'm sure Brazilians, there are lots of blacks in Brazil. Blacks, so many are in Brazil, who got there through the slave trade. So Brazil is not a UK. It's not a white-dominated community country as we think. No, there are so many blacks in Brazil. And so they like often to go back home. They call Africa home. But they may not want to come because they have nobody to receive them. They may not want to come because of the insecurity that prevails almost everywhere in Africa, including Cameroon. And so if we have these things sorted out, we are going to have millions of people. And then, of course, I said we shall not forget our friends. Who says that we will not even give our Brazilian friends free nationality to come and settle in somewhere in on top of the mountain there or whatever thing and farm? You'll be so happy to come back home. And I think the president is right. Somebody, Brazil, or any other country who supports us now, your effort will not be forgotten. You will be in the diaries. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Barrister Ambazia. Probably they are looking for somewhere to settle. Maybe Bangem would be a good place. You know, it has surrounded by hills, right? So it might just be a good place because we have this report coming in from Bangem. So that was where we started on Tuesday. So would want you to also join thoughts. What would be your opinion on this particular issue on our front burner?
My opinion?
Yes.
Are you with me? Yes. I think that like Barrister Ambassador said, if we have a very beautiful country, and it's as democratic as Brazil and America is, and we open our doors to good friends like Brazil and let them have visa free to visit us, to invest in our country. We make the economic environment very, very enticing for them to invest in, and investment means developing our country. It will be a good thing, and we intend to do just that. All we want is that big countries like Brazil in the world should understand our problem and come to our rescue, and the rest will fall in place. We are promising that Ambazonia will be a beautiful country for everybody to visit around the world. We are not going to be a dictatorial regime where you are afraid to go and visit because of insecurity. We are not going to be a nation that will arrest people and lock them up before they know who he is. We are not going to be that. There will be the rule of law. Everybody will respect the law. There will be proper development and equitable development in all parts of Ambazonia, so that anybody who wants to visit any part of Ambazonia will be welcomed. And I want to pray and hope that after the diplomatic outreach in Brazil, we will be able to have a full diplomatic outreach to our big neighbor, the largest African country, Nigeria. It will be very interesting to have a very brotherly and very close relationship with Nigeria, just like we are seeking to have with Brazil. Nigeria is we're part of Nigeria. In fact, we are, the blood that flows in us is like the blood flowing in all and most Nigerian citizens, if not all. So it is important that we have a friendly and a powerful nation next to us, which is Nigeria. I want to bring to attention of our listening public that Nigeria has a boundary only with the Southern Cameroon and Ambazonian. Nigeria does not have a boundary with La République du Cameroon. Nigeria is our immediate neighbor to one of the largest, I mean the largest African country. I'm not saying one, it is the largest African country and the most powerful economically country in Africa. And it will give an impetus to Ambazonia to follow, to trade with Nigeria openly and develop our own part of the country as Nigeria is developing. I think that after Brazil, with the next important outreach, diplomatic outreach, will be with Nigeria, with the present Nigerian administration. We have had problems before getting even to talk to Nigeria. Nigeria was the country that deported our people from when they had asylum, and and some of them were asylum seekers, and they were deported back to Cameroon to be prosecuted. Those are bygones. We intend to open a very, very important diplomatic outreach with Nigeria. So it is the same thing. Brazil is our friends. Nigerians are not only our friends, they are our friends and brothers and sisters. And La République is the only enemy we have, because La République is the first country that has been able to slaughter more than 60,000 of our people. It has never happened. Even when we were part of Nigeria, not one Southern Cameroonian was killed by Nigeria in any shape or form. But look at what has happened to us. More than 60,000 of our people have been slaughtered by La République du Cameroon, who happens to be our neighbor to the other side. And it is unfortunate. We just want to get out of this quagmire, and we are hoping and we are calling on Nigeria to really look at what is happening to their brothers in the Southern Cameroon and Ambazonia, and also look at how they can solve this problem. I think Brazil and Nigeria are our friends, and we need to cry to them for help. And that's what the president has started with Brazil, move to Nigeria, and we'll move to the Sahel and move to other African countries, so that we become we are Africans. We are Africans. We have the richest continent in the world. I don't see why we should be fighting ourselves to the question of to the extent of slaughtering our own people. You will not imagine that La République du Cameroon has slaughtered 60,000 Southern Cameroonians and Ambazonians. But since I started growing up and I knew that we came from Nigeria, I have never heard of a Nigeria of a Southern Cameroonian killed by Nigeria in any conflict. Why should our African brothers slaughter us? We are crying. What we are doing in Brazil today, we'll be doing the same thing in Nigeria tomorrow, so that our brothers can take us into their fold and let us that the French. I am not totally blaming our brothers of La République du Cameroon. I am blaming them because they were colonized by the French, and they are taking orders from the French. And look at where we are. We have lost 60,000 of our people from the 7 point something million people that we have. We have already lost 6,000, and they are still dying. So Nigeria to look at this, re-look at this, and make a decision that they can come to our head. That is the bit that I brought into this, Madam. That's the bit that I brought to attach to what is happening to us, what we are doing in Brazil, that we will do the same thing to Nigeria and even more, because Nigeria is not just a country to our neighbors, they are our brothers and sisters.
All right. Thank you so much. Yes, thank you so much. Barrister Mbese, you started this discussion, and Barrister Fu has added Nigeria to the list that the Ambazonian government should reconsider. Would you want to add any more, or would you want to flesh up this a bit?
Yes. If you permit me, you see, I would like all Ambazonians in general and our diplomatic people in particular to take note of this. There's something that we have almost forgotten, or if we have not forgotten, it should be at the back of our skulls. We go after diplomacy. We have to understand that in 1884, when we have this thing they call the scramble for Africa, when Africa was partitioned among European powers, the goal was essentially economic. Those countries that were colonized by Britain, France, any colonial master, their goal was economic. They did not even intend to make them independent. But after the Second World War and with the creation of the United Nations, came the theory of independence for everybody. The theory of independence for everybody did not destroy the economic interests of the colonizers. They kept them intact. And from that colonial interest, they developed what they call, then, and they have continued to recent months, the sphere of influence. Coming out of the United Nations, they created regions under control of different military economic powers. What we call the Eastern Europe, USSR, which fell under the influence of Russia. We had NATO, or the West, and you have this sphere of influence. You find somewhere else written down the French sphere of influence. That with their former colonies. And so when they signed these agreements in 1959, which were so bad, it is not that the Americans did not know. The Americans knew it. The British knew those things. But they reserved them for the sphere of influence of France. When in 1948, they created the state of Israel. And in 1967, Israel virtually took away the whole of Palestine. The world saw it with their naked eyes, but they kept quiet because that was America's sphere of influence. They said nothing. But in the last 12 months, or just about the last 3 years, this influence doctrine is breaking, it's collapsed. Eastern Europe, that was the reserve of Russia, is collapsed. That's why you find America, France, Europe, fighting in Ukraine, breaking the stronghold of Russia. That's why you find the world now standing out with their eyes that were closed to tell America and their own allies in Palestine, look, too much is too much. You cannot be allowed to treat Hamas in this way. And the Americans are listening. They're even breaking the alliances that they come there. That's why you find countries in Africa standing up to say, look, this nonsense was signed in 1959 is no longer applicable. French sphere of influence is no longer to be accepted here. We are free nations who can go east or west, north or south, if we so desire. So these boundaries, these unwritten boundaries that were written down way back in the 1960s, that influenced the Ambazonian independence in 1961, they have been broken down. That's where is BRICS thing coming in. They're no longer going to protect the interest of the euro, the interest of the dollar, which is American, or any particular interest. Everybody is free to come and gain your economic independence. There's nothing like political independence without economic independence. And so once we have this idea, once we have this idea in our heads, when we go out for diplomacy, we know that there's no more reserve area for France. There's no more reserve area for Americans alone. Neither there are reserve areas for China or Russia. So all the gates are broken down, the fences are broken down. So we can get there, if we have this doctrine in mind. France is never going to come back to be what it was in the 1960s. As early as this morning, I saw somewhere on Facebook, the Russians making a statement about North Korea, saying that why are you the Americans on the neck of the North Koreans? Why are you on them? Let these people be free. If they want to own their own nuclear weapons that you have yours, like Israel has, what is the problem of America bombing them, bombing Iran? They don't have the same nuclear weapons that Israel has, having the same nuclear weapons that America has. And so, you see, these walls are broken down and the gates are open. They're opening and they're open. So this gives diplomacy a better footing who will approach Brazil, who will approach all the BRICS countries, or any other country around the world. That's absolutely important. It's good for our diplomats to have this when we go into it, which are taught in 1960 or 1961. The British are no longer the Dutch are no longer the same. That's why America died. The Americans in 1960 saw the ANC as hope for threatening white interest there. These things have all since collapsed. So let us redouble our efforts, having in mind that these artificial boundaries, economic boundaries, political boundaries, military boundaries have ceased to exist. They are no longer there. Even if they're there, they're not as effective as they thought. Otherwise, how will they explain that the Americans are prepared to give so much to Ukraine to fight their war? The British are prepared to give the money to fight their war. The British are prepared to do it better. The war alone, we shall not send a single soldier to come and die for you. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Barrister Ambazonian.
Can I add something?
Okay, all right. We don't want to move into the military boundaries, but let's hear you for a few minutes, please.
Yes, I want to say that since 1954 that we left Nigeria, we have not had to have a visa to go to Nigeria. We have been visa free, and when La Republic invaded us, took our country, because of that, Nigeria extended the visa free to the rest of Cameroon. But we have never had a boundary separating us from Nigeria. If I leave Bamenda today to go to Nigeria, I cross the mountain, the Manu River in Ekok. I'm in Ekom, and there is no impediment. All they want is that I show a passport and they stamp it and I go, and that's what has happened. No visa to enter Nigeria from Ambazonian as of now since 1954, and there will be no visa even when we have our sovereignty. With Nigeria and Cameroon will be free flow of people and goods. And that is the type of country we want to build near our big brothers, the mighty Nigeria that has the largest economy in Africa. That's all what I wanted to add.
All right, thank you very much, and I'm sure the Ambazonians have learned. Now, moving into another set of tonight's program, let's take a look at the military defense or defense from the home fronts. I mean, a lot of military architecture is taking shape, and we love the generals. They are doing a whole lot. But let's try to educate some of our viewers. Now, a soldier is someone who is a member of an army. A soldier can be conscripted or a volunteer enlisted, a non-commissioned officer, a warrant officer, or a person who just wants to volunteer his or herself for a state or a country. Now, for soldiers in the Ambazonian State Army, they are all volunteers because of the need to protect Ambazonian population. Now, the ASA has gone through different growth and stages, and every winning stage comes with more responsibilities and victories. From last being the Ambazonian Restoration Forces, where they wrote their names and their sands of time, to a full-fledged army. Now, the ASA has a strong military structure with experienced military generals manning different counties and LGAs. The ASA goes through a tedious and rigorous workout schedule with their major generals and high leaderships. It simply goes a long way to show the resilience, the love, the tenacity of their Ambazonian State Army. The senseless war that has been on for 7 years and counting has given the youth of Ambazonia the zeal to march strength to strength, power to power, with the help of the Ambazonian government. The ASA now can measure up with explosive devices like that of La Republic du Cameroon. Now, counties like Bui, Ngokentuja, Bamenda, Ndian, and Dongan Manchun have shown a great gusto and vigor that has made the terrorist La Republic du Cameroon to totally avoid such areas due to fear of being neutralized by the ASA. Now, we must continue to congratulate the likes of Major General Chokandu, who have definitely made it a point of duty to put Ambazonians first by training the ASA in gallant styles. We have a video here emanating from one of their trainings. When we see that video, we'll get back to our great analysts who will definitely tell us what they think about the growth of the ASA so far.
Ambazonia, Ambazonia, ahead, Ambazonia, Generatoko, what can do it, Ambazonia, Generatoko, it can do it, Ambazonia.
Oh well, we see that kind of military treasure and teaching in most military camps around the world. Barrister, let's start with you. The growth of the ASA so far.
You mean me or Barrister Ambassador?
You're already talking, so let's start with you.
Okay. Before I say anything, I'd like to give fraternal greetings to Major General Tokandu of the Bui County. He is doing a marvelous job. His soldiers are doing a marvelous job. The Ambazonian State Armed Forces has evolved into a real army, and is carrying out the assignments as they are, particularly in Bui. This last week, for some reason, La Republique thought that he had a good intelligence to invade the county of Bui. My God, they had the worst day of their life, because the Bui warriors were us, and they slaughtered a lot of La Republique soldiers. And La Republique would never forget that they made a monumental error to think that they could invade the county of Bui. I salute all the warriors. I salute all the Ambazonian state armed forces all around, all over Ambazonia for the excellent job they are doing. We have evolved from the Ambazonian Restoration Forces. We're now the Ambazonian Armed Forces, the Ambazonian State Armed Forces. And I tell you, anybody who doubts our resolve to free the homeland should take a proper look at our forces in Bui, in Gokutunya, in Manyu, in Dian, in many other hotspots, and they should know that Ambazonia armed forces are here to stay. It was very, 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 very delightful to see what happened this week. And Cameroon will never make that mistake. If they do, they will come back in body bags. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Vice this year, from Restoration Forces to Ambazonian State Army. The transition seems to be coming with great gusto, great vigor, and they tend to do more. Do you think it's because of the change, or you think that the generals are just, up to their games this time around?
I think they are up to their game and beyond. I said last week, or a few days ago, seeing them there, just seeing them as they are there, even here one day, will not believe that these are the guys that in 2017, 2018, were going around with spears. They are on the spears and rubber guns. That demonstration there is something that scares not just the Republic of Cameroon, but all their own military allies. So General Talk and Do is not a thing you have to joke with. General Talk and Do is a symbol of something that is unimaginable in Africa. People think that people don't understand what I'm saying. When I say which is unimaginable in Africa, what do we mean? Look at those pictures once more. In addition to them, there's something that is passing unnoticed. You see, among them, there are dogs. I don't know where they're ever put them.
Oh yes,
they are just coincidence. See, dogs. There are no wild dogs looking for a game. Dogs play an important role in the military intelligence of modern countries. Yaoundé does not know that. France does not even know it because I've never heard about police dogs in France. And they've forgotten, if they ever knew, that in 1961-60, what police dogs in Boya? I had a cousin who died, who went to London to train to handle police dogs. They had a police dog unit in Boya. Police dogs do the intelligence of every military. They are snipers. You know where explosives are planted. They work with the police to detect criminals. They do all that. So you see those dogs there, they have a lot of meaning in military strategy. They have a lot of meaning in intelligence gathering. To tell them, and they were at large, that Ambazonia is going to be different. They're not going to employ gendarmes with guns, cutlasses, and spears to stand on the road and catch everybody. They're not going to employ policemen to come and knock down your door open to see if you have cocaine in your house. The dogs will do it and catch you without hurting you. And what are the dogs there? You see, they are playing with the dogs. So the dogs are not a coincidence there. So that's what has passed unnoticed. But dogs, as you see them there, are a symbol of something that most of us who are young, who might not have known in the 1960s, did not know. We did not know, and most still did not know that what they call the police school in Motengene, which has become the only national police school, was opened in June 1960, long before we were joined the Republic. They had a mission to train people to do security work, along with the police dogs. So what I take home from this demonstration is the presence of police dogs. And as I said last week, General Talk and Do today, we call them Changshu wearing military guys. We call them rubber gun soldiers. The days ahead are coming when those very Changshu boys we see there will become generals in their full flesh. They will become colonels in their full flesh. They will sit on the table with their equals if they will not be big military sitting on it. It will be their betters. And I gave the illustration to show that the Changshu wearing soldiers in the Ivory Coast, the Côte d'Ivoire, in 2005, 2006, are today the National Army of Côte d'Ivoire. The Commander General of the Ivory Coast National Army, General Mambe, escaped when the Changshu wearing boys landed in Abidjan. From that day, he ceased to be a soldier when he came back. They made him an ambassador of the Côte d'Ivoire to Gabon. And so, General Togandu, you have brighter days ahead. Your future is bright. It may look hard now. Future is better for you. And for Ambazonians, remember, they will not do what we have seen them doing without the little that will draft out of voluntary donation. They will not be able to do that. They will not be able to even wear the jumpsuit that they are wearing. But the draft that you and me draft. But for the widow's mite that come from the woman in the village. And so that is where we are. We are there to protect you and to protect the nation at large. Our military will never be camps to surround the villages. No, that's not their goal. It will not be a Cameroon army that sets military camps, one in Motengene, one in Ombe, 2 in Limbe, 10 in Boya. And of course, if you follow the news this week, I heard people in Akwaya begging that they should come and get a military camp. The whole of Akwaya, they have nothing to give to defend these poor people from people stealing their cows, just their cows. But they have the money. Instead of a military camp, a military school in Motengene, a large military camp in Ombe, destroying all the palm plantains of the CDC and extorting some of the land to sell it out for their plots. That must come to an end. If it never come to an end, it's coming to an end. It will never happen again. So be encouraged, talk and do. Move on. The Republic, come and fight, talk and do. But remember, we have our dogs. Our dogs will come after you. Thank you.
Well, you already know that when it comes to the word army, when the army is fully established, then the military schools, both at the nursery level down to the secondary level, can even be established. So obviously, this is a foundation that has been set, and we love the fact that they are putting all the military apparatus together. So the emphasis on the security dogs is one that we all appreciate, and so we look forward to greater achievements by the ESA. All right, so moving on, let's look at elections. Elections around the corner in La Republic de Cameroon. Obviously, we asked if actually elections hold. We talked about elections during the week, and we just know that, okay, somehow, they think that they can use the Southern Cameroonians as bait. Now, elections are around the corner for La Republic de Cameroon, and with that, they use everything in their arsenal to trick the people. Now, for a while now, the market women in Bamenda has been a target to use. First, it was for them to come and march on the International Women's Day. What was the reason for the march? The reason was to show solidarity to, President Biya. Come and march, and so he would like whatever they do, and then he would send compensations down. As if that was not enough, they asked the denizens of the Bangem to show solidarity again so that, their road could be fixed. As if that was not enough, they still asked the same women. Remember the women that got their markets burnt? Well, not just women, let's say the merchants that their shops got burnt in Bamenda. They asked them to come for some compensation kind of meeting, only for them to gather, and it was a political rally, a political campaign. So you see, they are using every opportunity to gather people, and we all know that two reasons. One, to get pictures to show the word that, to deceive the word, not just to show, but to deceive the word that probably normalcy has returned. And two, to set a foundation for their elections. And so they do all of these by trying to starve the people, knowing that whenever they starve the people, whenever they are called, the people will definitely turn up because, arms could be shared, some little rice here, water fufu, and the rest of them could be shared, and the people would hungrily want to take. So all of this put together is only towards the next elections. Barrister Fu, what would you say about this?
Ambazonia, Cameroon's Ambazonia. They can do whatever they want to do. They intimidate people. They went to Bamenda and intimidated market women and got some of them to go and march. How many did you see marching? How many women did you see marching in Bamenda? That was a farce. They are doing what they are doing in Bangem. I don't know what that will yield to them. The world knows that there's no normalcy in the southern Cameroon Ambazonia. That southern Cameroon Ambazonia is at war with La Republic of Cameroon. The world knows, and the battles are being fought, and the world is getting all the pictures. We have become a global village, so they cannot deceive anybody anymore. Now, to talk about campaigning for elections, we are not interested in any election taking place in La Republic of Cameroon. We are not interested. If you don't have a volume.
Could you please volume? Check the volume. All right, Barrister Fu, I'm saying that yes, we do not care about their elections, but they are using strategies, and these strategies can, deceive the people. These strategies can deceive the people.
I'm coming to that.
Vulnerable and gullible at the same time. So these strategies may penetrate into the people's hearts.
I'm coming to that. What they are trying to do now, our Ambazonian State Army will stop them. They will stop them. All they are doing now is to intimidate the population, get them to do what they don't want to do. You see, this is all but intimidation. In those areas where there's no active fighting, they go there and intimidate people and get them out. It will not work. There will be no election in the southern Cameroon's Ambazonia. There will be no Cameroon organized elections in the southern Cameroon's Ambazonia. Like since 2018 to today, they have not had elections in the southern Cameroon's Ambazonia. They can intimidate because, of course, where there's no active fighting, everybody is afraid of the gun. They bring their soldiers, they come and line up, and then they get these market women, or they get women from Bangem, or they bring caterpillars and the army, and they are working in Bangem, intimidating the people. Yes, our people are smart. They don't want to be slaughtered, so they will. Well, if you show me a gun to somebody, is bound to do what you want him to do. But that doesn't mean you have that person. There will be no elections. Let me repeat myself. There will be no elections in the southern Cameroon Ambazonia, just like there have never been one since 2018. Bia himself knows it. The government of the La Republic of Cameroon knows it. Especially now that we have our own government, they cannot dare, because we will stop them. We will stop them by all costs. There will be no elections in the southern Cameroon's Ambazonia. They can do whatever they want to do. They take pictures and to send to people who don't know about the southern Cameroons. They can do that and send to some countries that are ignorant of what is happening in the southern Cameroon. But for how long? Because the whole world now knows that it's a war between La Republic of Cameroon and southern Cameroon's Ambazonia. So there will be no, I repeat, there will be no election, just like there have never been election. If you hear of a mayor in Bamenda, he was appointed by Bia, he did not, there was no election. If you hear this, all the places you hear, they call you a mayor of that, mayor of that. All that were handpicked because nobody elected anybody. And the mayors are not effective because we will not allow anybody to lord it on our people who has not been chosen by our people. That's why you see some mayors, they are hiding in the Bamenda station, they are hiding somewhere, and they call themselves mayors. It will not happen.
Yeah.
It will not.
Barrister, we agree with you. Now, talking about mayors and talking about the colonial administrators being appointed, we have a video here that also supports your point. And when we see that video and return, while we're trying to fix some fresh air there, we'll have Barrister team also follow up with that. Let's see some mayors trying to deceive the women there.
The number one most important thing for every Ambazonian to do right now is the draft. We stand at the threshold of an existential struggle, a pivotal juncture in our proud history that brooks no failure, tolerates no hesitation. So we will draft incessantly, individually, within the warm, vibrant tapestries of our communities. We will draft. We must draft. Draft, for in this paramount task, our draft, lies the power to liberate Ambazonia.
The video is ready, we'll definitely play it. Yeah. Sincere apologies for that. Once the video is ready, we'll definitely play that video. We need you to see how some of these unelected CPDM colonial administrators, how they are manipulating Ambazonian mothers. But while we're trying to get that video ready, Barrister Mbesia, you may want to speak on the elections and all of their manipulative moves.
Let me say this, and let me go have this. The Republic of Cameroon has never had any elections since the so-called independence. They don't have elections. They have people they call parliamentarians, councillors, mayors, senators, but they are all appointed to serve the interest of the appointees. And so the name election is sham. They have never had one. But if they had one, what is the essence? Voting somebody to go to something called parliament or senate, when that parliament has no authority to do anything. The so-called parliament in Yaoundé is devoid of any authority. Absolutely nothing they can do. They can only act if the president authorizes the act. Where they need to vote a councillor, where the councillor, for example, if he goes to the council, call in the council, he cannot do anything. He has to wait, he or she has to wait until the money comes from Yaoundé. If they give you the money to go at that point, you do it. You do nothing. So elections by themselves have no meaning at all. And they have had no meaning from day one. I said this before. In 1960, the Republic of Cameroon had independence 1st January without even voting for a president. They never elected one. They just appointed Aijo, go and become the president of a new country. They did not even have a constitution. The first attempted election they had was 1964, but it was no election. It was a list system for the youth. And so they have never had any election. But let us go to what the duo that you have wanted to put out there. and what the elites are doing. If the people has any intelligence, which I give them credit for, specialize in manipulations. They know the soft spot of our people. They know where people are poor. So what will you do? What do you expect a woman? When they show us women in the food in Bamenda. How much does an average woman selling plantains, cocoyams in the food market in Bamenda take back home as a profit after all the sales? Not much. If somebody lands there and gives you 5,000 francs, what would that poor woman not take? I encourage them not to take. Of course, they should take the money because it's stolen money anyway. But does that buy their conscience? No. What will you do to a woman who lives in Bangam, who lives in Tombe, who lives in Gucci, has nothing to do? If you land there with base of wrapper written there in CPD and clothes, give them for nothing to wear, why would they not take it? At least it can cover them from their nakedness. It can cover them from their cold. Should they not take it? Of course they should. Why? Because the money is their money stolen to bribe them. But does that buy their conscience? It doesn't. Why should they be disturbed with that? If you saw people in Bangam complaining about a road, people in a choir complaining about those bridges, did those rivers descend from the soil, from the sky yesterday? Of course, they did not. Those rivers and those tracks have been since 1961. Elections have purportedly been going on. People have been sent to parliament. People have become senators, and the roads are still no road there. So what makes you think that they will dig a road only tomorrow when you vote them today? Again, I don't need to say there will be no elections in Ambazonian, because if there's no election, they will still appoint who they want to appoint. We all agree there were no elections in 2018. And of course, we still have parliamentarians sitting there claiming to have been voted. We still have councillors sitting there claiming to be councillors. We still have people going to Yaoundé and claiming to be MPs that were elected. And so on and so forth. So it's a charade. That's always been a charade. Most of our women and young men living in those places are young. A good number of them were not born until after 1960. They were born after all this charade of education came in. They have lived those difficulties. You see a village school, being shown somewhere in Akwaya, schools being shown in the north, wherever in the country, there's no school. To take branches of leaves of trees and cover it to become a school. What makes anybody believe that they have not been a school there for the past 60 years? They'll only be in the next 5 years where you vote them. They have failed as politicians who have become educated as citizens. We shall not accept blackmail. If they go and sell on market some, if you don't can give us 100,000, they will not give you store in the market. The poor man who had nothing to do will go and borrow money and give, because he will future wants to have a space to go and sit there the day. Because that's the only option they have. They are hungry. And so they have limited choices. But does that buy their conscience? No. That is exactly what they were doing in the 90s, in Bamenda in particular. And the SDF vomited them out. the SDF vomited them in spite of all the bribe. So we should remain convinced that our Ambazonians, they know our rights. If they come to you with the 1,000, take your money, but don't sell your conscience. Because the money, if we don't take, they're not going to put it back in the treasury. It's just stolen money.
All right.
The money.
All right. Barrister Ambazonian, we definitely agree with you, and we'll definitely come back to an extensive discussion about that. But remember, there is a video we were supposed to see talking about unelected colonial officials trying to intimidate and manipulate the people. We have a typical example. Watch it together.
They mammy them, when they are picking them, they still carry gun, they do these things, this nonsense. Una talk to them. Una, the woman them, una husband them, they do this thing them. Una talk to them, because even una picking them, they go suffer with it. They do. Now, normal thing, nature must come after. If they die, they picking them, they go suffer the same thing. One generation. So, at the back, especially the women, that is mommy, woman them. Because you know if they you suffer born picking. Then you see the picking, they do this thing. You know tell you say no.
Nchu wilaban dabi me. Anadinga be vermoni ngable. Ubani something njamo. Beju yumaka lole a ncha akum fung bin funkela bon funkela ngo cho kuiba ni phone le yuma lole a ndaba kum funga bi bonin timbon kan ma joyin diambi lole me bo fung ni chade won tu bi me nga man ko hapana bo nga bo struggle ma yenga man ko hapana bo funkela mo min chungam fatun ba matin ku ba
We have seen that. Yeah, go ahead. Very stuffy. Go ahead,
That is
please.
pure indoctrination. And we say that if you want to get to a population, you use their mothers, because everybody was born by a woman. Look at the man who spoke first is not even an Ambazonian. Look at an Ambazonian who has been hypnotized and compromised by La Republic of Cameroon, talking to the population in their language. That is manipulation. That is total manipulation. What about those who are in that crowd who do not understand the language he was giving? I want to say that La Republic can do whatever they want to do. These people standing here, they have been forced to come here. These people you see like this, none of them came here by their own volition. And they will not go to any vote. They can take these pictures and send around the world. These are pictures in a war situation. If they are not in a war situation, what are men doing behind these people who are talking? What are they doing behind these people who are talking? They are there with carrying guns and force the population to come so that compromised individuals like that one with a suit can now address the people, and then they will take the picture and send to other parts of the world and say, oh, no mercy has returned, this and that. Why are they talking about the children who are fighting? Why are they talking about it? Because they are scared. They are scared. They are holding this. What they are holding here is not in where there's a battle. When there's a battle, there will be nobody there. I want to repeat myself. There will be no elections in the southern Cameroon, Ambazonia. La Republic can do whatever it wants to do. We are this time around. The ASA will take note of those who have been appointed, who were not elected, and will make sure that they do not function in our territory. Well, but I don't even know what elections they're talking about, because the Republic itself is collapsing. Are we even sure that they will have elections? Are we even sure what is going to happen? Nobody is sure what is going to happen in the Republic of Cameroon, because right now they have no leader, no president. They have all powers that can, some on wheelchairs and some can, they hold some to work, who are manning the National Assembly and the Senate, and you call that a country. They decided to bring themselves to where they are now by declaring war on the southern Cameroon, Ambazonia. It is a favor for us. We will fight to defend our territory, and we will make sure that La Republic will have nothing to do in terms of governance on our territory. They are clustered in the places where the army can protect them. They go to Bamenda Station and they stay there. For the whole of the northern zone, they go to the Bamenda Station and they say there are jails in various areas in the northern zone. And then once in a while, they take an armored car, run to a place and sign papers and run out. And then they can now say that, oh, everything is under control. Rubbish. There will be no election in the southern Cameroon's Ambazonia.
Barrister Ambasia, could you say your final words on this election and election gamble that La Republique du Cameroon is trying to play on Ambazonians?
Yes. What I want us to take home is what that administrator is saying. And from what Ambazonian says. Remember, in 2017, Paul Biya had declared that he will win the war within days, 2 weeks. And what is that guy saying? He is begging. I'm not the one using his word. I beg. Tell your children, tell your husband to lay down their arms. He's talking to a crowd of people, several thousands of people. I'm sure that is not Guzan Market, where ADF gathers people to kill them. I'm sure that is somewhere else. Where he's talking to a population, thousands of people sitting there, who have their husbands, who have their sons and their children, bringing down this guy, who are standing there in armored cars. So if you are winning the war, why are you begging that they should put down their arms? Why are you begging? Just win the war. Go and win the war. You don't need to beg. So it tells you that they are gone. They have nowhere to go. They are begging in English and in the dialects. Because, say in the pidgin, it don't pass them now. It don't pass them. So, that's a lesson to take back home. A strong guy, if you're fighting with your friend in the cartier, just you're stronger than him. You know, you're begging him. He only begs when they're throwing you down to her, you find that the guy will strangle you, then you begin to beg. I beg, leave me, I beg, excuse me, pardon. So only a weaker party is begging, not a stronger party. So that's the lesson to take from there. And to tell Ambazonian, I mean, khaki wearing administrators, suit wearing elites, if you are winning, win. Since you're not winning, that population is not going, they're not going to turn anybody to you. They are not going to ask their husbands and their children as they lay down their arms and come to you. They are not doing it. They have not done it for 7 years. You don't do it today, they don't do it tomorrow. You've lost the war. Rather than begging, you should be begging that tell your children to come and sit down for peace. Not begging them to lay down their arms. You would not. From the previous that we saw, to the dogs, and with the arms they were up, we're not laying them down. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Now, talking about enforcing the Ambazonian laws to ensure there is no election, President Sako had this to say. But right after that, we'll get into the unlawful arrest and detention of Abdul Karim. I'm sure that we'll just have to see how we can do that. Let's see this video of President Sako first.
This year's Ambazonia State Army draft will be the first draft that is organized for you and managed by you. We at the federal government have decided that you will be the focal point for management and execution. We will put our resources directly into your hands, 110%, and you will decide how to manage those resources. All self-defense officials in the diaspora will only be there to oversee your activities, advise you, provide you with vital intelligence, and help mobilize the community. But you will remain our trusted experts in this game. The only accountability we will require from you is results. This year we must do things differently. The draft this year is caption exit draft, because this is the do or die moment in our struggle. Ambazonia is the bone they will either vomit and leave or swallow and die. Ambazonia State Army, we are going to fight this year as many but one army. I believe that a lot of things are going to happen in 2024 and 2025 that could determine the trajectory of our struggle. If we do our homework together, we will shorten our journey and hasten D-Day to come. I want to welcome you all to our biggest tent in this struggle, and that is the fully restored government of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia and its Ambazonia State Army. Together, we shall crush our enemies sooner than later.
All right, Barrister Phil, you want to comment on that?
No, the president was clear. It's clear that this year it's a crucial year, and like I said, all these so-called mayors and administrators who are running around Ambazonia will have to be flushed out this year. It cannot happen. It cannot continue to happen that they sit in Yaoundé and appoint some gullible and compromised Ambazonians to come and be running around collecting money from market women and tantalizing them and doing what they are doing. It will not continue. This year is the exit draft, like the president has said. There is nothing. Everybody who understood what he was saying knows exactly what he's saying. And this year is the year. That's why we are drafting, and everybody will draft the federal draft, and when the county draft will come, they will continue to draft. Everybody will draft this year. Most people who have not been drafting are now drafting. We see the results. So it's important what the president said. Thank you.
Barrister Ambasia, do you support what the president has said?
Yes, I support it, and I'll add this. You know, this week, the whole of this week, this Saturday, we'll spend the whole week on social media. Why the federal draft? Why are they sidelining county chairs and whatever thing you call them? That has been a great distraction. But as late as yesterday evening, the vice president put out a document there to show what happened with the money we sent to different people in the 2-3 drafts. I only hope that will bring some sanity into the people they call themselves charcoal radio, who go out with spinning all their stories and all their supporters. That this is exit draft. It has to be managed by the federal government for good reason. That document which the vice president put it out there is sufficient for everybody to read. If you don't understand, then you just don't want to understand. So we should shift our goal from criticism to action. Let us draft the federal government. I know that is truly an exit draft. When managed the way the president, I've always said that the president has a vision and a strategy. Rather than jumping on social media, making long, lengthy audios, if you have a problem, why not call and ask? If you call me, for example, and I don't know, I will direct you to someone else. I will look for the answer and give you. Let us stop these distractions, and I plead to Charcoal Radio, I hope he's listening to me, to stop all that nonsense out there. We like criticism, but it should be constructive. Don't go out and destroy just because you don't understand, or just because you have a different goal in mind. So I agree with the president. Again, the president has a vision, he has a strategy. Let us support him. And based on what the president said, and all what we have said before this last segment, the talk and do, the deal is trying to buy people, begging for us to put down our arms. The elites in Tombe or in Bangam begging for water, begging for roads, in Akwaya and everywhere. We are succeeding. Let's draft and draft. But for there are better days ahead. Talk and do will not do what they're doing unless they have the money. So Forget about elections. Even if you go and vote, which you're not going to vote, it's not going to bring any change in your life. Nothing. That's all after that. Thank you.
All right, so when we return after this short break, we'll definitely go into the Abdul Karim report. And you already know he's been detained for 2 years without any form of trial. Let's take this short break.
The number one most important thing for every Ambazonian to do right now is the draft. We stand at the threshold of an existential struggle, a pivotal juncture in our proud history that brooks no failure, tolerates no hesitation. So we will draft incessantly, individually, within the warm, vibrant tapestries of our communities. We will draft. We must draft. Draft, for in this paramount task, our draft, lies the power to liberate Ambazonia.
All right, thank you so much, Barrister Ambazia, Barrister Fu. Thank you so much for being on the show tonight. Now, conclusively, let's look at the Abdul Karim story. He's been detained for 2 years. No trial, nothing. 2 years in prison. Why does this happen? And we can also use that to relate to the Naraten case as well. Barrister Ambazia, you want to start this time around?
I don't know what to start, but let me say this. What I do has been 2 years, but many more people for more than 2 years. So it's not the first. So why is Abdul Karim important for us today? Why is it important for us to take up his case once more? What has brought us to take up this case now? As late as late last week or early yesterday, it circulated that Mr. Abdul Karim had written a document from his Kondenge jail cell and sent it to the military tribunal. The document, he told them that he was not going to submit himself to their jurisdiction anymore. He's not coming to their court anymore to defend himself. And so that is why we're taking up this, because that is a strategy that all Ambazonian detainees should adopt. That is a strategy which the Naraten should have adopted. We did propose that to them in writing. We made a document for them, but they rejected it. They rejected that approach. But it is important to know what Abdul Karim is doing. To write to the military tribunal that you are no longer coming to your case, to their court to be judged, has a dual purpose. Firstly, it tells Yaoundé that you don't submit yourself to their jurisdiction. But before that, Abdul Karim now was a free man 2 years ago, riding a white horse from upstation and coming down. Did not know that Yaoundé was noticing him, that he could never be their friend. And as a matter of principle, once Yaoundé into their custody in this struggle, rest assured that you will remain there as long as the battle remains. As long as they fight them, you remain there. Not because you have done anything, but because they are taking you there. They are not taking you there for committing any crime. You are just a hostage. You are adopted to be held hostage, to be held as a ransom for a return to peace. So Abdul Karim has realized this, that Yaoundé is not even going to release him. He's not even going to win any case if he goes before the military tribunal. They will try you They will jail you if they wish. If they have nothing absolutely against you, they will adjourn the matter for years and years and years until whenever the case. And so Abu has put out that thing. It has two significances. One, we Ambazonians who have no reason being before your court for anything sake. You don't have the competence to try us. So we're not coming to your military tribunal. It serves, it gives media coverage. It gives the world to know what you're talking about. So that's the first point. The second point is that even if we must come to your court, because if a Japanese, if a Nigerian, if a Chinese came to Yaoundé and killed somebody or did something, you'll be tried in Yaoundé, you will try in Cameroon court, in Bamenda or wherever it is. He's not going to insist that the Yaoundé has no jurisdiction over them. They will try you. But there's a basic principle of law that when you commit a crime in a particular spot where the crime is committed, tried in that court of that area, the court that has jurisdiction over that physical area where your crime is allegedly committed. And so Abdul Karim is telling them, I've committed no crime. I'm not even entitled to be before your court. But assuming that I even committed a crime, just assuming that I even committed a crime, I was caught in Bamenda. Must I be tried in Yaoundé? Why must somebody who commits a crime in Bamenda be tried somewhere in Yaoundé? And Abdul Karim is telling them again further, even if you think that your military tribunal must try me, many people don't know, maybe they don't know, there's a very military tribunal in Bamenda. There's a military tribunal in Bamenda. There's a military tribunal in Buya. So why is this madness of catching people from Buya, from Mamfe, from wherever in the southwest they call it, or somewhere in Kambe or Wum, in the northwest as they call it, and dragging you to Yaoundé to be tried in the military tribunal? And the third message Abdul Karim is telling me, Abdul Karim, I have never been in the military. Nowhere else in my life have I been in the military. And the law says the military tribunal has jurisdiction over the military people alone. I'm not a military guy. Why are you tearing me and carrying me to Yaoundé military tribunal, or even to the Bamenda military tribunal? Why? Is Abdul Karim inventing this thing? No. Yaoundé has been told time and again, officially, especially in Committee 26603, paragraph 131, that because that complaint, the complainant alleged that Yaoundé has been catching people in Bamenda, trying them in Bafoussam military court, catching people in Boya, trying them in other places. The court wrote there in black and white that trying civilians in military tribunals is a violation of the international law, and most particularly a violation of Article 7 of the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. That they said further, carrying people from one jurisdiction to be tried in another jurisdiction is another violation of Article 7. We are in the United States, for example. If you committed a crime in Maryland, if you broke into a bank in Maryland and fled to New Jersey and they caught you there, you're not going to be brought back. You will need an extradition. They will take you to court and make an extradition and say, well, you broke a bank in Maryland, and then they'll bring you back to Maryland and try you there or any other state. That is the law. That's the charter that Yaoundé is signatory to. Why are they just being so lawless? And so, does Abdul Karim think that this will make them to set him free? No! It is to give coverage, to tell the world that what is going on is so unusual legally, it's so unusual diplomatically, it's so unusual politically. And so that's the message he's sending there. He has spent 2 years there. Not because he raised this issue. He had not raised it, but he has nonetheless spent 2 years without even an court appearance. So that is the bigger message that is behind Abdul Karim's issue. That's why we're addressing the matter today. Because there are hundreds of others who are in the dungeons of Yaoundé, in Bafoussam, caught in Bamida, in Douala, caught in Boya, or in Mamfe. What does they have? Even the military tribunals in Boya. They are in Bamida. So what are they doing this? What of jungle justice is all this? Again, I said we have tried to make the Naira 10 to avail themselves of this defense. We took time, about 6-7 lawyers who wrote a document for them. Used it to avail them. They don't even Abdul Karim is not saying it to a lawyer. He's saying it with his own mouth. They refused to avail themselves of that defense. They thought they could defend themselves and get out. Well, 7 years passed, 8 years apart, they are still in prison. Not 7, 10 years, not 7, 20 years, 7 life. And so Abdul Karim, whoever advised him, I give kudos to the guy. That's a smart move. Like we say in the country talk, the pig said that before I die, I'll be crying. So you don't push in prison, you will make the noise. For people who listen to your death, to your cry before you are crucified. That's what I have to say about it for now. Thank you.
Barrister Ambasia, Barrister Fru, yes, Barrister Fru, thank you so much, Barrister Ambasia. Barrister Fru, as lead lawyer of the Naira 10, would you want to link this behavior of La Republic du Cameroon vis-a-vis government's current approach? You know, so La Republic du Cameroon inflicts all sorts of pain to Ambazonians with impunity. Now, what would you have to say about this?
Madam, in 2014, La Republique concocted a law on terrorism. They concocted a law on terrorism because of Boko Haram in the north of Cameroon, in the extreme north of Cameroon. And when this crisis, or when this war broke out between La Republique du Cameroon and the southern Cameroons, they just used that law to apply to our people. Abdul Karim, this is a young man that I adopted as a son. I introduced him to public speaking. We two of us were talking openly in all television networks in Cameroon, particularly in Douala. He will come from Bamenda and we will come together and appear on those television stations. This young man did nothing, did not violate any law. First, he was first detained in the SED, and they released him. I don't know what agreement he made with them. They released him, and he wrote a white amenda. I mean, we left Cameroon together. He went to Nigeria and I came here. Everybody knows what happened to me on my way back, and I had to come back, run back. Abdul Karim, I sent him from here to take the road, go through Togo, to right up to northern Nigeria and come down. And he did that and re-entered. And for some reason, he went to Yaoundé, to an embassy, and he was arrested and locked up in SED. I don't know what agreement they entered into. He took a white horse. When he arrived Bamenda, he rode a white horse, a triumphant entry into Bamenda. And from there, he became funny. He attended the mass that the cardinal from Rome came to install Nkia as the archbishop. Nobody he was an important member of ACT. Nobody authorized him to go to that mass. He went there and he was admitted. He was there. He wine and dine with La Republique people who came from Yaoundé and the archbishops that were there and so on and so forth. And he gave them the impression that he was now with them. That's my opinion though. But I know this young man. He was a fighter then, but he had made so many mistakes in his life. He even declared that Ayuk Tabe was the face of the revolution because he did not like Dr. Sako. For some reason, he made that statement. That notwithstanding, this young man did not commit any offense to be taken from Bamenda, where there is the military tribunal, because that law says you will be tried in the military tribunal. That the military tribunal is a jurisdiction that tries you. There is a military tribunal in Bamenda. Why do they have to take him from Kwen, where he was living quietly with his wife and 2 little children? Take him from Kwen, Bamenda, and go with him to Yahweh and lock him up for 2 years now. I congratulate him for the decision he has taken. He will not appear before that kangaroo court. He will not. And other Ambazonians who are locked up by and appearing in the military tribunal anywhere would copy what this young man has done. And I'd like to take this opportunity through this medium to congratulate him for what he has done. That letter that he has written, he should stand by it. He should not appear before those people, because when it will be said and done, we are on the table of negotiation. The first thing we are going to put on the ground to level the playing field is the release of our prisoners, who are more than 2,500 all over the Republic jails. Abdul Karim has taken a bold step, and that is very, very wise. Because whether he goes for the trial or not, nobody will ever release him until this whole thing is settled. So the decision he has taken, he should stand by it and let others copy from him. I feel very bad because he is to me like a son. Because when I left, he too left, and he entered all this with Rick Maro going to. He even came right to America here. He went right to Canada, came down here. Instead of, I advised him to stay and ask for asylum, he refused and went back to Cameroon and entered, went to Yaoundé. That he was going to report to an ambassador who gave him a visa to go to Switzerland for when the talks were being prepared with La Republique Cameroon and Ambazonia, because he was a member of ACT. And before I knew it, Abdul Karim was arrested, then released, and he went to Bamenda and entered Bamenda like Jesus Christ entering into Jerusalem. And war and below, after about a year or so, he was rearrested and he is in Kondenge, and he will be there for no crime committed. No crime. I cannot put my hand on why Abdul Karim is arrested. Of course, like other Ambazonians, a lot of them that they have committed no offense. Some of them because they were fighting. But majority of our prisoners committed no offense. I take example for one example, very clear example. This one was killed. Joseph Wazizi, a journalist reporting in Pidgin from the southern zone, from Muyuka and Kona and Moya, and so he was reporting. They arrested him from there, took him to Boya, and from Boya to Yaoundé. When he got to Yaoundé, they beat him and killed him and buried him. Up to today that we're talking, more than 2 years, nobody can recover. Nobody knows where the body of that young man is. They buried him somewhere in a unmarked grave in Yaoundé. That is the plight of our people. And this La Republique of Cameroon will produce all our people that were in their detention. Otherwise, they will be accused for extrajudicial killing during a war. So, Abdul Karim, I thank you for your letter. That letter, stick by it, obey it, and like my colleague says, other prisoners should follow suit, because the Republic has no right to try civilians in the military court, because that law of 2014 violates international conventions in all its aspects. They had to go to Nigeria, connive with Nigerian authorities, and kidnap the Naira 10 and the Tabara 37 and some from Calabar, between 5 and 9, in violation of international convention for the protection of asylum seekers and people in asylum and asylum seekers running away from persecution from a country. They were not supposed to be deported back to Cameroon like Nigeria did. They were supposed to, if they did anything in Nigeria at all, if they violated any law in Nigeria, Nigeria was supposed to send them to their prisons. Or on the opposite, if they think that there is security risk in Nigeria, they were supposed to ask them which country they want to go to, but not to send them to a country from where they are running from. That is what the international convention says. That convention was passed in 1951 and ratified by Nigeria and Cameroon in 1961. All these international conventions have been violated as far as Ambazonian war is concerned. You will take a man from Bamenda, where there's a military tribunal. You cross all the rivers. Why should you even try him in a military tribunal? He's not a soldier. And Abdul Karim has never been in the army. What has he done? You take him from Bamenda, from his family, and go right to Yaoundé and detain him. He will not appear before your court. I hope he sticks to it. Thank you very much.
So much, Barrister Phil, and thank you so much, Barrister Mbetia. We're already coming to the tail end of this particular conversation tonight. But one of the most important things we have for you tonight is the fact that we have documented an overview of what made stories within the week from Undaunted Bulletin and around Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia. So let's take a look at the major highlights.
Here's an overview of what made the news this week in the Southern Cameroons. This week on Undaunted, we focused on the results and importance of the exit draft as Savannah Zone kickstarted the federal draft triumphantly. Interestingly, Brazil lending a shoulder for Ambazonians was not just a diplomatic move, but a step in the right direction. By now, you would have seen all over social media and various platforms that over the weekend during the launch of the exit draft, the Federal Government Draft Award 24, Ambazonians globally, hundreds of them in a Zoom meeting with the president, were able to raise $50,000 cash. The growth, the ambience, and gusto of the ASA is worthy of studying. We tried to examine who a soldier is and concluded that a soldier is someone who is a member of an army. A soldier can be a conscripted or volunteer enlisted person, a non-commissioned officer, a warrant officer, or an officer. We concluded that soldiers in the Ambazonian State Army are all volunteers because of the need to protect the Ambazonian population. The ASA has gone through different growth and stages, and every winning stage comes with more responsibility and victories. From last being the Ambazonian Restoration Forces, where they wrote their names in the sands of time, to a full-fledged army. So elections are around the corner for colonial LRC, and with that, they use everything in the arsenal to trick the people. Over a while now, the market women in Bamenda have been a target. First, it was for them to march on International Women's Day to show solidarity before they can be compensated. As if that was not enough, just before we reported how they were tricked to come to a CDPM campaign, aside the fact that the LRC are only interested in the forthcoming elections, it's also important to note the tricky and coerced methods they use. We investigated and found out that the enclave Bangam denizens of Kupimwanengubar are forced to vote for beer in the next elections. These are people that have suffered from time immemorial, from the days of Amadou Ahidjo and the Marcosats. They were the war victims, escaping barbaric La Republique to seek refuge in the 1950s, 1960s and 1970s for about 24 years, and now under genocidal BIA for 42 years. They are still suffering. These are people that do not have schools, they do not have roads. But then, this is pathetic, as the colonial government is going extra miles to get the votes of a people that are neglected year in, year out. As if that was not enough, it's been announced by in-house slave Bamenda City Council Mayor Paul Achobong that the sum of 6 billion franc CFA has been adopted as the budget to rebuild the Bamenda main market. The Bamenda main market last February was ravaged by a fire that started from within a shop. The colonial authorities have over-politicized the inferno, toasting vulnerable victims at will. Many victims are not moved by the amount voted to rebuild the market. To them, words from LRC loyalties are not trustworthy. Getting tortured for painful incidents like a fire disaster is shameful, a situation where these merchants have lost their goods and properties. They are toyed around from making them march compulsorily to them being tricked. It is rather unfortunate that victims of the Bamenda main market inferno are being exploited for political gains by the heartless CPDM colonial authorities. Those are a group of persons whose only source of income went into flames and are today being tossed left and right by those who promised them colonial government support. Amongst the news we gathered that there are several litigations ongoing in local courts and land issues, but those innocent land buyers have had no concrete response from the chief colonial DO and STO or the colonial governor who sold these lands illegally. To these buyers who now face all the consequences. The actions of the colonial authorities in selling these native lands that shouldn't be up for sale is the major reason for the ongoing land conflict in FACO. It's deeply concerning that these colonial authorities, who are supposed to be upholders of the law, would be the ones to engage in illegal practices and disregard the laws and twist them to suit their own interests. Meanwhile, according to Capo Daniel, the former deputy defense commander of the ADF, that Ayabacho Lucas, the so-called president of the AGOFC, who ordered the killing of Colonial Senator Henry Kemende. It's interesting how Capo Daniel contradicted his earlier accusations against LRC military on this same matter. The assassination of Kemende took place in Nkwen, Bamenda in January 2022, and although no group initially claimed responsibility, the SDF's vice chairman, Honorable Joshua Osi, later pointed towards Amba fighters. But Capo Daniel's recent statement is the first time a so-called SC leader has claimed responsibility for the senator's assassination, stating that ADF fighters carried out the killing based on Ayabacho's orders. Capo Daniel alleges that Ayabacho instructed his fighters to target those perceived as collaborating with the LRC government, and so to penetrate the cultural bond of the people of Ambazonia. The LRC colonial government came out with a scheme by putting the funds and chiefs under the government payroll after classifying them according to the power they exercise and the size of their subjects numerically. This strategy has greatly fragiled the fondo and chiefdoms since their leaders are answerable to the slave master.
All right, there are very interesting reports we have. Remember, you can check out the website and also all socials to get all of the stories in full briefings. All right, so before we go, we just have Barrister Ambasia and Barrister Fu give us their last words in 90 seconds, please.
Thank you. My last word, I will take it back to Abdul Karim, because it's absolutely important. Let Abdul Karim and whoever wants to take that line of defense know that the enemy has a lot of tools in their toolbox. Yes, they may refuse to appear before in their court, but they have the physical power because you are adopted. They are the adoptee. They are your adopters. They have the power to force you into a van and carry you to the tribunal against your wishes. That's not the end of the journey. When you get to that tribunal, you're forced to go there. Don't ask your lawyer to do this business for you. Don't enter a plea of are you guilty or not, and you say no. Put up your hand yourself without even the permission of your lawyer and tell the court you have something to say. They will never refuse you the opportunity. They will ask, what do you have to say? Before them and before the crowd sitting in the court there. that you are not taking a plea before them based on the document you sent to them. If they want to hear the reason, the first reason is that they have no competence to try you. Point two, you are not a military guy. Full stop. They will do you nothing. They can take you to the court, but they don't have any weapon to open your mouth to talk. They don't have the instruments to make you talk. So that is the strategy. Get there if they force you to go there. Put up your hand and tell them you don't want to talk. They don't have any power. They have no power to open your mouth and force you to talk. I should really put it somewhere I've just read. The strategy is to give publicity to this thing, to nail them to the cross of their own thing. And so when you do that or not, they are going to say it to you anyway. And we say it all the time that it is common English. He who is down need fear no fall. You're not trying to free yourself. Go. You will not even go away if you testify. So why not make the point and remain in jail without being tried? Because when you remain in jail without being tried, come a day where you have clean records. You're never a convicted person. Yeah, you were detained, but you're not a convicted person. And so, embarrass them. If they can try you without you talking, fine. You can go ahead and say, yeah, you didn't talk. You didn't answer a plea whether you're guilty or not, but we'll send you to 20 years jail. That's fine. That will give enough publicity for the case. Thank you for listening. I hope all of us have learned something from this. Abdul Karim has said it's just one of the several thousands going through this. Adopt this approach. Even if you don't have a lawyer, just do it. It will help you. Stop deceiving yourself that somebody will come and release you. No, they will not release you. But Sanso said, you know why Abdul Karim was arrested? No, he was simply arrested because he went to Switzerland. That's the project they want us to do. They didn't want to go to any negotiation. And if you start out for within their region, they would lock you up. That's what they did to Abdul Karim. He had committed no crime, other than being part of the party who said we should go to Switzerland and stay peacefully. For them, it's a crime. There's nothing about that. So Abdul Karim will feel for, but congratulations for taking that move. Just take our advice. This is public advice. They are just listening to us. Other detainees are listening to us. Follow this advice. But once you're in the Republic in this thing, they're not going to forgive you. I've always said here, they will not forgive the offender. The other you kill you, but they policy, they will not forgive you. If somebody is sitting in Kuninga, they will forgive him, you're wasting your time. They will never forgive you. So thank you, Abdul Karim, for this. I hope it's useful to you and to any other Ambazonian in detention. Be it in Boya, be it in Kambe, be it anywhere. Tell them that you are not subject of the military tribunal. If you are already in Boya or Bamenda and they take you to the military court, you are not subject of the military court. They will not force you. Thank you.
Very stand base here, yes. We believe no one is going to force Ambazonians. All right, thank you so much, Ambazonians, for being with us on tonight, this week on Ambazonia. I'm sure that by next week you're going to see Mr. Tapati King here handle the show as it should be. Meanwhile, before I leave you tonight, let's look at the president's reaction. He's been looking at everyone. So let's look at the president's reaction this week. Our President Samuel Ikomisako, has this very important information to give to you. But until then, remember, on Monday, we get back to Undaunted, where Smart and I will definitely give you high points of all of the news making news around the world. Until then, good night and God bless.
Fellow Ambazonians, I know say that the draft season this ahead. When you fight your enemy, even though your power don't energy they can't finish, but you want to see your enemy na faint to defend. Now ahead. That time you go do like say you never even start for fight, say you go show you pepper. Now say you don't bad for La Republic. We wanna push them, may we push them ahead. Then the time for our victory this. So all the Ambazonian State Army, all the people the way they know why we come together. All man na ahead. Shake no day. We must draft to our local government, draft to our county, draft to the federal government. We must give double, triple. This one at the time for go forward. focus. As I dey encourage you for do the right thing. And once anytime you hear my voice, you hear them for the right reasons. As I dey encourage we all for do the same thing, the right thing, and the thing with me I dey do. I want to remind you something. May I remind we all about me. Maybe I go reintroduce myself. Some time ago, I be being an activist. You know what way activists they do? I be then a person where I don't want to go for bed, I think about something, or I go for Facebook, I see something, or I go for some forum, I see something. I see the way they think the worker. Maybe I go online, I see some of these activists, they talk something, I look and say, no, this one to confuse my people for life, my people for deceive and distract. So I will just put my post, my information. Say I will come up tomorrow at 2 o'clock. I want to address something urgent. In other words, activists, they react. Activists and people they react. They react to anything where they go on, where they don't like them, where be according to their values, and the thing where they fight against. Whenever they see them, they react. Activists and people where they react because they no agree to where the situation where they go on. So anything where happen, when a personal thing, they react. When a general thing, they react. Anything where they question them, they react. And so I be there. Then when I can't decide, say I go be on a press. Immediately, 2018, I took off my jacket of an activist. I put on the jacket of the head of the storm. So I decided that instead of reacting as an activist does, I go to act. In government, you act, you don't react. There's no government in the world which is just reacting. This one talk for Twitter, they react. This one talk for make audio, they react. Tell me one president in the world who is there reacting on anything. This one coach, this one they react. This one lie for this one. The president react. Tell me one of them, because governments don't do that. Governors don't do that. The best thing way I decide for doing, I say instead of reacting, I will be acting. Which way mean for act? It means say for acting, I say because I get the instruments of power, I should not be complaining about issues. I get the instrument of power, I should not be reacting. I get for act by making policies, making decisions, taking actions where they go address issues. That's acting. And when I didn't want to address issues, I did chose my own time to address the issue. I chose how I want to do it. In what manner I go do, choose the timing and everything. Because when you are reacting, you are under the influence of somebody else. But when you are acting, you are in control. The government, the leadership, the government should be seen as to be in control, not dragged left and right. They drag you this side you go. They drag you this side you talk. One audio to the left, the other audio to the right, one to the top, the other one to the bottom. One you react. No, that's not how governments do. Those people where they expect me to come and enter into their individual issues and begin to react in support of this and support of them should think again. See, before you want to crucify me for what I did not do for you, find out if I did it for me. Yes, find out if I did it for me before you want to crucify me. Bible say make you love your neighbor as yourself. They don't talk say make you love your neighbor and you don't love yourself. Therefore, if neighbor want to crucify me, you therefore find out whether I don't do it for myself, then for your own time I don't do it. You want me that when you disagree with somebody or somebody insult you, I should come out and defend you. When somebody lie against you, the president should come out and make a statement and defend you. Wonderful. Okay, let me give you some examples of myself. When I come to power, as I try to make my changes, I see a lot of bogus things. I try to remove them from bogus television will not be owned by Ambazonian to a bogus DOD way be just exist to take people their money, no fighters on the ground. When I start to dismantle, the first thing they start do all over the place is to accuse me and to insult me. This man be undocumented. You no get nothing. The immigration go throw you out one day. We want the whole meeting for America so that may go fear attend because you no get no document. Bring me one audio if you fix find them at switch, especially those people they are my enemies. So they don't leave. So at least you know if you spare me now. Find the one audio where we make up for defend myself about how we may not talk so I get document. I know it's very painful, right? Very painful. But I went through it. I not talk because I am not an activist. If I was still an activist, I would do them. I would just make my my poster the next day I'm coming on live. I don't react. Even some people they be close to me till today. So they be believer say not true. I don't get document. I don't get doki. I don't feel worker. So I chose my own time. I chose to do it through my government actions, not through reaction. What was the government action? To travel to Germany and go and hold our ASSC1 in Germany. I was just doing my government action. I was surprised as I reached for airport. Some people they say, "Hey, Mr. President, wonderful. Now you this for Germany." Some people they say that They start calling people they from airport, say, made them come, Dr. Sako they for Germany. And some people, they don't even hide their emotion. They ask me, say, how you manage come for Germany? When I go look the video, I be tell them, say, I just simply disappear for America, I appear for Germany. I just make it light. I don't even use them as a moment to respond to anybody. It was the shock of shocks. All that people, the way they be, the lie against me. But you see, I not be dance to their tune. I not be follow them to the mud. I not be follow them to their excreta. I not be react. I was just governing and doing my things. And the truth came out. I chose when and how to act. And then that was not all. May I give another one again. They wake up, they say they will bring me down. They say that they now like this. Sakono, he don't chop all the money for my trip to Boya. He don't buy house. He don't chop the money, hundreds of thousands for your account. He don't keep someone for Nigeria. He don't keep someone for Brazil. He don't buy house. He don't buy house. He don't spend 30,000 for only for a birthday party for Bahamas. Okay. How many of you feel bring me one audio where I be come outside for defend myself? Because when I want to me I defend one no. Una ask me how many una feel told me one audio where I be come outside for defend myself for that thing. But I give credit to one person who is not even on my side today. Na brother Tabenya. Now he be come outside talk say as the Secretary of State for Finance, Economy and Finance will be there that time. He say anything happen where go wrong with this money for this my trip to when I ask me, say Mr. President knows nothing about it. Come my own for sign paper. But what will me I be do? What will me I be do? Now say I ask all the counties them for choose their own auditors. We know that me I appoint them. I say every county give me one audit and they select about 12 or 13 will be count together plus the department of the auditor, the controller will be get inside house plus other people who they set together. What was I doing? Was I reacting? No, I was governing. I used the government machinery. I used the structures of government. I used governmental decisions to address the issue. So they used 40 days to come through the accounts and the documents that were available. 40 days, 200 hours, and they go through it. And they brought the report. They want game for me. I say, may they carry and go for ABC. Now for ABC, they will go for them for go read them. Now how many houses they be see and say Dr. Sako buy? How many houses they be see and say how many holiday parties will they see and say I be chop money for Bahamas? How many my money they be see and say they give for me where I don't go hide them for Nigeria and for Brazil? Zero. How much of all that their bogus allegation lies and innuendos they be discovered for inside the paperwork say Dr. Sako be doing? No one. So in that case too, I be act. I did not react. So it concern me, I not be react. That's what I did. So me I ask you now, in the two ways where I be solve this matter, which one was more effective? Which one make audio rant, the two they make their own, they rant, or the action they will be taken? Which one address the matter in a solid way and in a permanent way? Through governance. Now so my style day, I don't say no fine for some people, but now so my style day. I act, I don't react. And anytime I am silent, you know that I'm thinking of how to act in that situation, not follow the crowd and begin to react. Let me tell you the strategy. My strategy how it work. When you come against me, you lie. I live and because if I just challenge you that time, you go wipe your mouth. Let's say you not talk nothing, right? So I go leave you. You lie. So till you get followers. You lie. So till you print them in cement. You write them in stone. So till people they believe the lie. So till they shit on top. And then I come disprove them at a time that it was least expected by anyone. When people they don't already follow a lie, then you don't quiet. So they don't be comfortable in that lie. Then you can't disprove them for some way. We all man the see and say true. The theory they be believing for 2 years now in a lie. You know what you don't do? You have not only destroyed that liar, but you don't destroy his structure. Because nobody will trust a liar. Nobody will trust somebody when you lie for them. They believe that lie for 2 years, only for can't realize saying a lie they will lie. Go and ask anybody where they in relationship or marriage. You lie for somebody so that the man believe that lie so they he take him like say na gospel truth na angel na in fact na Bible. Then only after 2 years or more he can discover clearly saying a lie will lie. How that person go man trust you again. So when I take my people them down, when you lie against me, I know you are about to go down. But I know go just react. I will let you settle in that your lie. Yes, I will let you build a structure around their lie. They want to disprove you and your structure will not crumble and become a total mess. That's the truth. So this other one, they come. Oh, Dr. Sako, you don't take 60,000 every month from CDC that they pay you. Now me I be bring the deal and so on. Trying to get the talk out. See, Dr. Sako, he follow some prostitute for this side. You do whether na which kind one way they talk. If you find out any audio where I come out that they talk, say, may I talk on a concern that prostitute. I want to tell on about that CDC deal. I want to tell on about this for make up. No, I talk say simple. In the governance of things, I say let us act within the law. That's government. I don't come for can respond. I say bring your don't write nonsense, faceless accusations. Write your letter of all the accusation where they accuse me, notarize them, give them to the structure where it be the legislature, submit them for the legislature, but you notarize them, that means say you own the thing the way you talk, you own them. You know if you talk more, say no, that me I be talk. Then me I go give my social security number, they go go through so that we fit contact the FBI or the Justice Department. May they carry out an investigation, sending me so that you crucify me not because of somebody's hate, but because of what I did. Today you be here how we and so then wake up again can't talk. Say 2 years after, say they define the evidence. They never see. If I be wake up that time, they coach me, I coach them. They talk this way, I talk them. It go be their word against my word. But I govern. I use administrative methodology. I address the issue. I use the instruments of power. I address the issue. Now some of them, if you even mention that thing again, the one enter inside hole go hide. That's the truth. Anything they be build them around the lie about Dr. Sako. Where is it today? When they started talking to themselves, I don't talk saving, I still wait for the evidence, and they will still wait for the evidence. Who will be in a house that is built on lies? Who will give his money to a house that is built on lies? Who will continue to trust somebody who lied to them? I brought the deal. I know the deal. I am telling you the truth. I listen to my voice and so on. Who will believe that person again after 1 year, 2 years discover say everything they told them was a lie? Who will continue to believe that person and give him money? You see, my method takes down people and institutions. I know they react. If you want a reactor, go and look for activists. That's what they do. I'm not one of them, and that's not my strategy. Whether you criticize my strategy or not, this is the strategy that has helped us to be where we are today. Without this strategy, we'll be all over the place. For here, can audio and video where they're going on my own. I don't make them coach this one, do one coach me, do one talk live against me, to a lie against me, and so on. No, I don't do that. They wake up, they talk all kind thing. I don't know even the one I feel mention on phone. So one time I come to the people like the one the way they say I no go school and so I no get no degree for this and degree for that. I chose my time to respond. I chose if I would respond at all. I chose how I choose to respond, and I always get my moment and I responded. I get people they come back behind me, they tell me say we are sorry. I'm matter of fact, I'm very sorry because I believe this thing. Until you came there, you are saying that this person asked this one is here present right now, and they were shocked. So that's why I do my own. Don't drag me into any fight. I'm not ready to fight for you. I will not fight for you. I will not fight for anybody. I'll fight for Ambazonian. And my blame now say, all of you who come against each other, you have an axe to grind against your brother and your sister who is in the struggle. Why don't you go and grind that axe with some La Republica? Why don't you make Atanganji your punching bag? Why don't you make Belamokichas your punching bag, or John Gute, or Lily Lafri, and the other dog governor in Boya? Why don't you make them your punching bag? All these my country people, all these haters, all these killers of our people. Why don't you make them your punching bag? The person you are struggling to fight against each other, those are people who are doing one thing or the other to support the struggle. If I'm still around, you can talk to me because I'm here to support the struggle. Why am I your punching bag? Why is your brother your punching bag? That person at least is giving a dime to support the struggle. He's giving his time to support the struggle. He's giving her time to support the struggle. He's giving her dime to support the struggle. You wake up for money, wake up for nine, for punch this one and for punch that one. How do you think? And you want to say something, you lie. And then let me tell you something, Ambazonians. Stop this nonsense of attacking each other or sending people to attack each other. Stop this nonsense. It's nonsense because it does not make sense. As soldiers, we have a bigger enemy before us. Put our disagreements under and let's go to war. We are at war. Put our disagreements under. Put our hatred under. Because when someone hate another person, everything is bad. Even the good becomes bad. Even the bad becomes good. When someone hate, he knows say his neighbor hate him. Even if you get mango tree for a compound and that mango, it fall, it burst a roof. Guess what? People talk say na a neighbor. Now you don't shoot stone where you can't burst a roof. Bad man. And because of the hate, no man for a compound or for a house no will ask and say, but how are you sure? No, if you ask and say, how are you sure? No, that means say you be problem. Why you will ask you that kind of question? Now you don't broke my roof. Hate. Why don't you put hate aside and focus on Ambazonia? Why I see so much hate around? Why do you hate your own person? That's the way when they go to war together to fight the enemy. Why do you want to bring each other down? And what you see, hate begets hate. When you hate, you harvest hate. When you sow hate, you harvest harvest hate. When you sow anger, you harvest anger. When you sow lies, you harvest lies. When you are fomenting lies, planting lies, sowing lies and hate, tell me say you go harvest something else. No, that's when you sow negative, you harvest negative. You sow positive, you harvest positive. Some of you say no over my dead body. Why are you here? In the public space, you can never say over my dead body. No, we're here to help people. We're here to solve problems. We're here to fight and win them. So every other thing is second. If you don't stop attacking each other, welcome to the new world of conflict, world without end. Welcome to the new order of conflict and hatred and all kinds without end. If you don't cease, if everybody want to prove his point or her point, go on and prove it. Don't pull me inside. I'm not going to be part of it. I will not. That's not why I'm here. Thank God that I still wake up in the morning and have some energy to stay here. When that little energy too is gone, I have a choice, like 8 million Ambazonians, to make a choice to say I have tried. Posterity will judge the rest. Don't drag me into any of the thing. Every decision you see me take, every time you see me come up with a strategy, is it because I did not talk about it, I did not react to issues? No, I am struggling to solve the problem because I use instruments of government and power to address problems, not talk about them, not talk about people, not talk about issues to everyone, not react. Not react to these things, but to look at them closely and see what instrument of power can I use to address the situation. The decisions I've taken about the draft, I am addressing situation. The decisions I've taken about organizing the fighting forces on the ground, I'm using governmental prerogative and power to address issues. You want me to talk about them? No, I will not talk about it. I will not react. When I create a forum, I am trying to address issues governmentally. You want me to talk? I will not talk. If you know me all this while, you will just follow me quietly. Probably you will see what I'm trying to do and why. And for those who want to blame me, please, if I were you, I would rather talk with me before you blame me. Because those who try to blame me before they talk to me, many of them have made serious mistakes. If I were you, I would engage me so that I understand the issues better before I know what to do. Because if not, many have blamed me, then they discover at the end that they were wrong. Because they did not have time to talk with me. They listened to some people left and right and made decisions. Thank you, Ambazonians. This is not what I'm supposed to do. This is the longest audio I've made to recalibrate the struggle, to understand how I do things, to remind you how I do things, and how I'm going to do things, and why I'm doing certain things. May God help us.
The number one most important thing for every Ambazonian to do right now is the draft. We stand at the threshold of an existential struggle, a pivotal juncture in our proud history that brooks no failure, tolerates no hesitation. So we will draft incessantly, individually, within the warm, vibrant tapestries of our communities. We will draft. We must draft. Draft, for in this paramount task, our draft lies the power to liberate Ambazonia. The number one most important thing for every Ambazonian to do right now is the draft. We stand at the threshold of an existential struggle, a pivotal juncture in our proud history that brooks no failure, tolerates no hesitation. So we will draft incessantly, individually, within the warm, vibrant tapestries of our communities. We will draft. We must draft. Draft, for in this paramount task, our draft lies the power to liberate Ambazonia. The number one most important thing for